Hey, thanks for stopping by to my channel. Today we'll be discussing the relevance of Lord of Wolves in PC Crucible alongside what I think are the best ways to use it and why. I'll have some gameplay footage in the background going on. A bit about me, I've been playing PC Crucible since Destiny 2 released and have gone through all of the metas. Currently, Lord of Wolves is infecting high-level Crucible PvP. The main metagame you may see at high-level PvP on PC is going to be Spare Rations with Lord of Wolves, or a Quick Draw Beloved, Snapshot Beloved, or Tatara's Gaze, Revoker Waking Vigils builds are also highly popular. But these Spare Rations Lord of Wolves build is usually used with a Stompy Hunter or a Wormhusk Hunter type with the Void Battery seasonal artifact mod. So yes, there are other guns being used, but today we're going to focus specifically on Lord of Wolves and just discuss why it's being used so much more. It's actually statistically relevant, and I'm going to show the data for that in a second. But I just want to hone in on the recent trend of Lord of Wolves rising to statistical relevance on PC PvP. This may not be a problem if you're playing the game on console. I checked the stats for console PvP, and it doesn't look like Lord of Wolves is even statistically relevant. What that means is that not enough people are using Lord of Wolves on console for the gun to actually show up as a stat on Guardian.gg. As you'll see on the screen, I'm going to just cycle through some of the stats, but Lord of Wolves is only statistically relevant on PC PvP in all of the playlists currently. Maybe not in Supremacy, but that's because Supremacy rotates in and out. But it will show up in the 8 to 10% range on PC PvP currently. Sometimes it's more popular than Mindbenders, other times Mindbenders is more statistically relevant than Lord of Wolves. Not everybody is aware of how good it is in a current sandbox of the game. So one thing I'm going to hone in on with this video is how good Lord of Wolves is on Hunters. I feel like it's best utilized on Hunters. I main a Warlock currently. I just enjoy playing Top Tree Dawnblade alongside Astrocyte versus Blink Warlock. Those are my favorite styles of play. I used to main a Hunter, but I haven't played Hunter in like the last season or two. But since I've noticed the Lord of Wolves trend increasing, I decided to give it a try with Hunter, and I'll talk about the builds as we get further in the video. Titans and Warlocks can use the same high-level item combination as a Hunter. They can use the Spare Rations Lord of Wolves build pretty much as well as a Hunter in neutral play, but when the Hunter is really good at using Stompies and Strafe Jump, they go head and shoulders above the Titan and Warlock in the options that they can do in regards to Lord of Wolves combat situations. And it really just has to do with the Strafe Jump mechanics that are involved with the Hunter class. Things such as ceiling hitting, like hitting your head on the ceiling to go farther or to boost yourself, and even just the trajectory of strafe jump. The mechanics of it allow you to do things that you can't do with the other jumps in the game. For instance, you can propel yourself forward but still have access to your neutral gun game for the most part. If you have Icarus on your guns, you'll still be able to be somewhat accurate while moving in your trajectory arc. Warlocks and Titans, if they choose to ADS during their burst glide or strafe lift animations, they will start descending. That doesn't mean that they can't also emulate what strafe jump does, but strafe jump is just more free. And because of this freedom, you're able to enter into what I think are more advantageous situations as a Hunter as opposed to the other two classes. And there's other things that the Hunter has as well that can help them push Lord of Wolves above and beyond. Reload step, for instance, but I'll get further into that later. So why do I want to talk about Lord of Wolves? I mean, it's honestly just pissed me off lately with how much I'm running into it in PvP. It pissed me off how bad I was at using it. It's honestly not a free win gun at first. It does take some muscle memory and understanding of the gun's mechanics to use it well, but that's honestly only about like an hour's worth of gameplay in PvP to understand how to use it in the best situations. I'd argue if you're just a good neutral game player and you understand the game's mechanics, you can understand how to use Lord of Wolves, it's really not that complicated. You spawn and you release the wolves as soon as you spawn, and then you just switch back to your spare rations and look to challenge. Um, so anyways, I just want to talk a little bit about the history and how it was OP before, in its five shot stage, and then Bungie reworked Lord of Wolves to have the release the wolves activatable on command with 10 bullets alongside a range reduction, and then the catalyst was released, which allowed stability to be increased in the 5 shot mode and an increased reload speed on the release the wolves mode. It was sometime around late summer that Bungie nerfed Lord of Wolves after its initial OP state. I, and you can even look at a lot of videos that are still online from late July into August from big YouTube content creators talking about the current state of Lord of Wolves after that nerf. Oh, I think they also nerfed it where you get less special ammo when you grab ammo bricks to what it currently is in the game. That's fine. Honestly, ammo economy on the gun is not that bad regardless. But yeah, you can just look that most people in the late summer were talking about Lord of Wolves being nerfed. People who still liked the gun stayed faithful to using it, but for the most part, people who were flavor of the month users of the gun dropped off. And it was pretty quiet. I mean, right now we're in February, and it's only now and maybe last month where people started to really pick up on the trend of Lord of Wolves still being a dominant pick in PvP. On PC. It kind of resurfaced amidst all the other guns in our meta, and it just kind of slides in really well with the spare rations Mindbenders players. If you're just using that in PvP and you're tryharding, it's not that hard to add Lord of Wolves into the mix. So what I want to talk about also is how significant Lord of Wolves as a gun is, how consistent it is, and just what it frees up the player to do. I don't think Lord of Wolves is a free win gun. It does take some skill, but then once you have that skill, it becomes a free win gun, or at least a trade every life kind of gun, which is not horrible in survival. I mean, you don't want to die, but if you're gonna die, you might as well trade. Lord of Wolves is really good at picking up last second trades if you know what you're doing, and it's because of the drag. So let's see. But yeah, if you're on console, this might not be a problem for you at all. I'd maybe encourage, if you're a console player, maybe to just get good with Lord of Wolves if it's manageable on your controller. Maybe the screen shakes too much and the FOV is too low, but it is an extremely consistent shotgun, at least on PC. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up some YouTubers or streamers using the gun. It's insane what you can pull up from the air and from the ground. It pretty much has built-in Icarus, so you can take airborne battles with confidence with this gun. If you look at the top weapons on Guardian GG, you'll see that PC PvP is the only PvP Crucible space where Lord of Wolves is statistically significant. I'm pretty sure it just has to do with the limitations of console due to FOV and frame rate, and also just aim assist. The gun probably shakes too much. It might feel too clunky to drag the gun during the 10 burst shot, as opposed to how freely you can move the gun during the burst on PC, and that's pretty huge. You'll see in some of my gameplay that I miss bullets, but then because the drag of the gun is so forgiving, I can get back on target during my shot animation and still pick up kills. That's huge. It's forgiving and consistent. So yeah, that's it. I'm not really going to talk about console going forward. I don't play console at all, but if you're a console player listening, I highly encourage you to just listen on and just see what this gun can do. It truly is tearing up the Crucible at higher levels. It is counterable, but it's just a playstyle that I really wanted to highlight here. So I'm not going to get into the mathematics of the gun in this video. It's not really my interest. I'm more of a playstyle commentary type of guy. So if you want to look at the numbers and ranges, kill ranges, all that shit, feel free to look up other YouTubers who put in the work. That type of information is really important too, but for me, it's just more about like in-game information, in-game strats that I care about and what I want to talk about here. So in this video, I'm just going to assume that you understand to a degree what Lord of Wolves is and how it operates. It's a shotgun. It kills things in front of it, usually with one click. There are two modes of fire with the gun. It has a 5-shot increased stability mode if it's masterworked, and it has a 10-shot release the wolves mode with less range but more damage. You also get an increased reload speed if you've masterworked the gun with the release the wolves mode. In high-level PvP, the players are mostly taking advantage of the 10-shot mode. If you look at anyone who's using it at high level, the first thing they do when they spawn Lord of Wolves and spare rations is they switch to Lord of Wolves, hold reload, and go into release the wolves mode. Then they backpack the gun and run around with their spare rations out. If you watch them go through a game, you'll see this happen over and over and over, whether they live or when the round resets on survival. This is what you do with the gun. You just go straight for release the wolves. It's not that 5-shot mode is bad, it's just that release the wolves mode is so over the top in the damage that it does that you might as well just have the gun default to that mode. So yeah, it's a shotgun and it kills things in front of it. That's really not that different from other shotguns in terms of killing things, but once you get into the specific playstyle and what you can do with the gun, it starts to be quite different than a Mindbenders or other shotguns in the game. The main thing that I think puts this ahead of a God Roll Mindbenders or other shotguns is consistency and the ability to dive on people mid-flight, mid-strafe jump, which will allow you to start doing your damage outside of kill range and then use the momentum to move into kill range. And this is something that you can't really do with other shotguns because they release their damage instantly in one pellet, whereas Lord of Wolves actually has like time to release its bullets, and its bullets come out straight and consistent. There's little to no RNG with the bullets when they come out with Lord of Wolves, so for all of you who hate shotgun RNG, Lord of Wolves has none, or very little. I don't know what the stats are like when Lord of Wolves changes to 10-shot mode, but trust me when I say that this gun pretty much has Icarus in it. It allows for aerial plays to be made more consistently, and because multiple bullets are shot in a stream, you can be off target for like a few bullets and then come back for the remainder of the bullets to kill the target. This doesn't sound relevant, but when you're playing the game or watching replays or even watching my gameplay, you'll see that there's moments in that 10-bullet stream where I'm off target, then I get back on target and kill the target with the rest of my bullets. This is what I call the Lord of Wolves drag effect. You can literally drag the gun while it's being shot and kill things that are around you, allowing for what I call forgiveness. Like, you can just miss and drag and still get a kill and be given forgiveness. Sometimes it feels like the game is helping me out when I'm using this gun thanks to this forgiveness. But it does take skill. You still need to aim, but it's pretty forgiving. The gun releases multiple bullets, and if you shoot outside of kill range and then move into kill range during your bullet drag, you can effectively increase your kill potential range in ways that other shotguns are not able to do. This is enhanced on the Hunter's strafe jump ability. With the Hunter, you can press strafe jump and then ADS with Lord of Wolves and kind of do a dive into the enemy with your 10 bullets. You can start shooting on them while you start falling on them, and what's going to happen is your bullet damage is going to increase as you get closer and closer mid-dive with your Hunter. If you can imagine it, you'll see it happen a few times on screen, but this is the biggest benefit to be playing a Hunter on Lord of Wolves. You can do this dive, and I mean, I got so into this that I got killed, because it's kind of fun to just dive into the enemy and see them die with your dive technique. Yes, you can dive with other shotguns, but the way you do it with Lord of Wolves is just so fun, and like I said, it's consistent. There's no RNG, so you can repeatedly do this over and over and enter the situation over and over and get kills. And enemies who are not aware of this type of situation will die. or they'll put in almost like 80 to 90% damage in you, but then your Lord of Wolves will overtake them. Um, let's see what else. So this pretty much allows you to change the, not really time to kill, but the distance to kill with the gun. It's deceptive. You would think that, yes, it's a shotgun, he needs to be directly in front of me to kill me. Not exactly with Lord of Wolves. He can be launching himself towards you or launching himself to the side of you and killing you with the damage on the gun. It reaches a little bit further than you would think. The number is 12 meters from what I saw, but you could engage at like 13 or 14 meters and then be moving into 7 meters to finish up the kill with strafe jump. Let's see. The dive can be done on console if you're playing on console and you know what you're doing with strafe jump as a hunter. Ceiling jumping will get you further, but if the gun is too shaky on console to use, then you're better off probably just using a mind benders for the dive technique that I'm talking about. You can do this with stompies. You can do it with worm husk or regular strafe jump. You can also be a dragon shadow player and then go for the dragon shadow buff, have that almost stompies like effect, and then challenge people with that mode. As a hunter, you also have access to reload step or dragon shadow, allowing you to bypass Lord of Wolves reload animation, which actually is hella good anyways. You really don't need to bypass it, but it's just there. And then also as a top tree Night Stalker, you can turn invisible. As you're going to see in many of my gameplay clips, I go invisible first and I challenge people for the ultimate scumbag build. It just lets you engage into situations with more confidence, with more awareness, and it lets you get into that distance to kill that you need with more reliability. You see me going invisible and diving at people because it's just so reliable. Yes, it's a bad habit and I wouldn't do it on any other class, but when you're invisible, you can get away with these things. And it's nutty. Even against good players, you can get away with this because it's just so, like, over the top with the damage that it does. So yeah, you can either do it with stompies or worm husk, whatever you're most comfortable on as a hunter. I'm not even that good at hunter. Like I said, I main warlock. I haven't played hunter for like a full season, so what you're seeing is me being really shaky on hunter on these clips. This is not hunter main status. There are many other players who are higher level than me on PC who main this type of gameplay. This is just me demonstrating what you can do with like 2 nights of games. So yeah, the dive that I mentioned before is pretty paramount to being good at Lord of Wolves on PC. I mean, or just in general, like this is just the option that you can't do with other shotguns. Definitely learn to do that. And yes, you can emulate this and do this on a Warlock or a Titan. As you'll see, I'm doing it on Warlock, Top Tree, and some Blink clips are there too. But honestly, I get frustrated because those jumps are nowhere near as free as the Hunter strafe jump is. It doesn't compare. Yes, you can get that nice Icarus jump dash when you do the glide before doing it, but even that is not as reliable as strafe jump because you have to go through the Icarus dash animation, whereas strafe jump happens entirely in first person with your gun out. The other thing is that when you aim mid-flight as a warlock mid-glide, your character will start to fall. And this can be predictable and can be used to drop on people, but it's nowhere near as reliable as the strafe jump fall. And if you're playing Top Tree Warlock Dawnblade as I do, you'll see that when you ADS, you actually go up a little bit higher. You can use this as a technique to bring your glide to go up higher, but I'd still say that this is just not as fast as Hunter. You can get pretty close to transverse steps. I usually use Ophidian Aspects just to help me have the quick draw effect on the Lord of Wolves. Let's see, with Astrocyte Verse as a Warlock, I just want to mention, after you blink with that on, you have about 1.5 seconds of quick draw available, so yeah, you can do this playstyle on that too. The only thing is that you can't really do mid-air plays with blink. I love blink, it's one of my favorite jumps in the game, but you're not going to be doing air-to-air combat with blink. You're going to be mostly putting yourself in positions where they're not going to be looking when you blink, or going above them and then falling on them with blink. It is fun, but it's not as free as the Hunter strafe jump. And as a Titan, I think as a Titan you could do this build pretty well. I honestly don't play Titan that much. You don't see any Titan gameplay on stream because I just haven't had time to take that type of clips. But I'd imagine with Dune Marchers, you'd be able to do a pretty fast playstyle with Lord of Wolves. You could do this with One-Eyed Mask as well. But I honestly would argue again, just the freedom of the Hunter Strafe Jump is a little bit above what you can do on the Titan and Warlock when it comes to this playstyle. I feel like I'm talking in circles, but I really just need to drive that point home to you guys. It's Hunter that takes advantage of this the most, specifically top tree Night Stalker or mid tree Night Stalker, depending on what you're good at. So yeah, that's enough of that rant. In normal weapon play, I would argue that the 3 class ability jumps between Titan, Warlock, and Hunter don't matter that much. You can really get away with just being a good neutral game player on all 3 and just use the jump to satisfy movement. But when it comes to the Lord of Wolves style, the strafe jump, it just matters. It really lets you overtake players in a different way than you can. So part of this is because of the movement retention from strafe jump. When you activate strafe jump in ADS, you still keep your movement speed. So because of this, you're able to just challenge consistently with Lord of Wolves. As a hunter, you're able to also go invisible. So this lets you have safer approaches and more first shot advantage situations. This really matters in survival or any PvP, but in a life-based PvP, you want to have first shot advantage as much as possible. Being invisible lets you just have first shot advantage as often as you can. It lets you at least get into a position where your distance to kill is optimal for Lord of Wolves, or even just get into a better spare rations fight. The smoke bomb wombo combo allows you to correct bad jumps. I'm not that good at displaying this, but I've seen better hunters where maybe they mess up the trajectory of their stompy strafe jump and they get stuck. I see them, I think he's a free kill, but he knows he's in a delay, so he's thrown his smoke bomb at me and he wombo combos me to cover up his bad jump. This is not something that you can do with any other class. Maybe Celestial Fire can help you out as a Warlock, or throwing your hammer can help you out, but just the disruption of a smoke bomb can help correct jump mechanics, the floatiness of a jump. If you throw a smoke bomb at an enemy who's looking at you mid-jump and it's not safe, it can help you continue to survive or continue to get that kill, to do damage. You'll just see better Night Stalker players do this. It's not something I can reliably do, but people who have like hundreds of hours on that character type can predict when to throw a smoke bomb mid-flight to make their jump safe. You can't do that on other classes. Skillful smoke bomb use can make unsafe jumps safe. I guess that's a simple gist of it. Finally, reload step and dragon shadow. Being able to bypass the reload animation as a hunter just lets you continuously stalk your enemies. It lets you stay in the fight. It lets you go for a team wipe better than the other classes, I'd argue, because you could get a kill, run out of ammo on your Lord of Wolves, roll to reload, and then continue on to the next guy, and hopefully wipe them before somebody starts to respawn in the enemy team. Hunter is best at doing this. You just keep moving. So yeah, those are just some reasons for what I think you should be using the Hunter for. Again, movement retention during strafe jump to challenge more efficiently, invisibility options for first shot advantage, smoke bomb to correct unsafe jumps, and also just to open up situations. Smoke bomb is such a good support skill. It disables people. It either gets them out of the fight or it makes them a free kill. And then reload step. And Dragon Shadow, just be able to negate the reload animation consistently. Now I want to just talk about some reasons to use Lord of Wolves over Mindbenders and other shotguns. Yeah, sometimes Mindbenders does counter Lord of Wolves. I'd argue there have been moments where I've had to get off of Lord of Wolves because of a good Mindbenders player in the other team. But then there's other games where my gun is just better, where Lord of Wolves is just better than Mindbenders. And I'm gonna just give out some details and reasons for why you'd want to use Lord of Wolves over any other shotty. One is consistency and predictability. You're not dealing with shotgun RNG pellet spreads. Even with full choke on, some shoddy shots will have RNG. It's just the nature of the game. There's plenty of videos about that. A lot of your god roll shotgun rolls are meant on consistency and reducing the RNG. Lord of Wolves has none of that. It shoots the same way every time. I mean, I'd like to say, and I'm pulling this out of my ass, but it has 90% in-air accuracy, but maybe it's just 100% in-air accuracy. It seems like it has an Icarus grip mod in it. And because it shoots multiple bullets, even if like your first 1, 2, and 3 bullets miss, you've got the rest up till 10 that can stay on target. So you can still kill them with the drag. This applies to in-air or in-land. So this laser beam quality of damage that Lord of Wolves can do adds to its consistency and predictability. And this is honestly something that a lot of shotgun users have wanted in this game. They want a consistent shotgun experience. You're getting it with Lord of Wolves, 100%. It does what it's supposed to do. Backpackable Lord of Wolves, Release the Wolves. I'll say that one more time. You're able to backpack the Release the Wolves buff. This is key. You know, they nerfed Ace of Spades, Memento Mori being backpackable, being able to switch your gun or even pull out your ghost. Doing these things gets rid of Memento Mori, the buff on Ace of Spades, and you have to get a kill for that buff. But Release the Wolves, you can do that on spawn and then switch to your spare rations immediately. Have your lightweight bonus right away. And I think this might be something that could be nerfed without changing the damage numbers, but this is something that can't be understated. You can get into your overkill Lord of the Wolves mode and then put it in your back pocket. And then run an Ophidian aspect or just be a hunter who's invisible. Switch to your Lord of Wolves with 10 bullets mode when you're ready. It's just consistency and overkill damage in your back pocket. You can do this with Lord of Wolves. It's nuts. Amazing reload on the gun. This is another reason to use it over any other shotgun. It doesn't matter what class you're using, especially if the gun's masterworked, because it's not a single pellet shotgun. It uses a clip. Your character just goes through a clip animation reload like they do with a majority of the other guns in the game, and because of that, it's one reload for 3 bullets instead of being one reload for 1 bullet like other shotguns. When you have the gun masterworked on Release the Wolves, the reload animation's insanely fast. It's practically not there. So yeah, it just, with or without the masterwork, the reload on this gun is good. Another reason to use Lord of Wolves, and this kind of goes into point 1 with consistency, is the bullet drag mechanic. I really just want to drive the point home that you can miss with some bullets during your bullet animation and then get back on target and pick up a kill. This is what I call the bullet drag mechanic. You can learn this. This is a learnable technique on Lord of Wolves, the bullet drag. What this also means is that if you're not confident in your 1v1, you can just engage in your bullet and then drag until you find the enemy, and then he'll die with like bullets 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you miss bullets 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is really pretty crazy what you can do. If you have a lot of bullets, you can just make some ballsy plays where you miss the first shots and then get on target with the end of the shots. Not something to be understated. Get good at the Lord of Wolves bullet drag mechanic. And finally, there's just no need to fight for random rolls with Lord of Wolves. It's an exotic. Once it drops, it's there. In its base form, it's good. In its masterwork form, it's better. It does damage. You're not fighting for full choke or any other roll. It just is what it is. Some cons for Lord of Wolves. It's an exotic, so you're not going to be using the last word. You're not going to be using Ace of Spades or any other exotic with it. I mean, I'm okay with that. I really don't care. Some people see it. Oh, you're not putting any mods on it or shaders unless you have skin. That sucks. It's not a quick draw shotgun, so you probably should be using a shotgun dexterity or the sprint glitch, the sprint weapon switch glitch. But honestly, I would say that's not the hugest deal. But yeah, sometimes in a frame-to-frame situation, a guy with a quick draw mindbenders can get the kill on you if you're not ready with your Lord of Wolves. It's not a quick draw shotty. Ammo economy can be bad when you're initially learning the gun. They did nerf how many bullets you get per ammo brick, even with scavenger, so you're not going to have like a shit load of bullets, but the most part, if you're using Release the Wolves mode, it's a 3-shot per clip shotgun. Sometimes you get 2 Release the Wolves bullets and then a 5 bullet because you have 25. Just get used to counting on it being a 3-shot shotgun. Ammo economy is actually really good on this gun, I'd argue. It's totally fine. Even when you're stuck with 5 bullets, it's still really good. And finally, I think the other con is it just kind of degenerates the game at a higher level. When enough people are using this gun in a lobby, it just becomes like a one-hit kill Lord of Wolves fest. Yeah, the better Lord of Wolves players will win, but honestly, it's not that fun when everybody's using it. Like, I think this gun is pretty rage-inducing, and once you get killed by this like once or twice, you switch into it and you want to like challenge with it, and then the game becomes a Lord of Wolves fest, and I don't like that. I don't feel that happening so much with Revoker or Mindbenders. Sometimes the last word I'll switch into it to counter another last word user, but this gun really brings out a degenerate running at people aping style. I don't like that at all. So what can Bungie do to help the situation of Lord of Wolves? Well, one, they can change nothing numerically. They can keep the gun exactly the same and just nerf Release the Wolves being backpackable. Give it the same rules and regulations that Ace of Spades has with its buff. Don't let Lord of Wolves users get away with putting Release the Wolves in their backpack. Instead, make it so that if the Lord of Wolves user wants to use Release the Wolves, he has to commit to having his gun out. He has to commit to that gunfight, to that playstyle, until he decides he needs his next gun. And then he has to set it up all over again. I think this is a good nerf without directly getting rid of the playstyle, without directly getting rid of people's muscle memory who put time and effort into learning this gun. It'll keep the gun shooting the same. It's just that now you have to commit to this 10 bullet mode. I think this is a good idea. Maybe they should do this if they are going to nerf it. They may not even change the gun because it's not statistically relevant on console. Another thing they could do is maybe just rework Release the Wolves again into something else. Maybe make it so that it's an on-kill effect, so that after you kill someone for a limited amount of time, your 10 bullets come out instead of 5. That almost sounds similar to how it used to be. I don't know. I just feel like having this buff all the time at your disposal might just be overkill. And I don't know. Unless if Release the Wolves can be changed to some not damage buff but interesting change, I don't see what they can do. Like, so maybe just make Release the Wolves a type of rampage buff for the gun. Totally fine with that. That's at least a kill that you need to get, some effort necessary. Another thing they can do is just change Lord of Wolves to be a heavy shotgun and maybe make it so that Release the Wolves is on all the time. Basically a complete rework where this gun just gets even more powerful, but it's only a heavy. So you're dealing with it on the same level as a Tractor Cannon and Acreus, which don't even come up that much, but it is irritating when you're dealing with a good Tractor Cannon user. Maybe Lord of Wolves should just be on the same level as that. That might fuck with some people, though. They may not want to do that. That might be too dramatic of a change, but it could also be like a huge thing. I could see the Bungie patch notes, like, we're doing something we've never done before. We're turning a special weapon into a heavy. I could totally see the headline. Finally, maybe just keep Lord of Wolves as a 5-shot shotgun. Rework Release the Wolves into something completely different and just have it be a 5-bullet at a time shotgun. I don't know. Those are just some ideas. I think maybe the most realistic one is not letting Release the Wolves be backpackable, but I'd also be okay with Lord of Wolves just being a 5-bullet exotic shotgun that does damage. I don't know. I don't think it needs to do 10 bullets at a time. It just sounds so overkill. In PC high-level comp, I've run into so many games that degenerate into Lord of Wolves spree, like I said previously. Usually the users are hunters with Stompy or Worm husks, and as a primarily Warlock player, I was getting a little bit annoyed how hard it was to keep up with the hunters who were using Lord of Wolves over me. There was always just like a difference. It's like I'd get into a fight with them and I'd shoot my bullets, but their bullets would come out faster and like they'd live with like 10% HP. But then once I switched to Hunter, it seemed like I was the one who was getting away with all the kills. It was pretty night and day difference for me. Not saying that you can't get away with using it on the other two classes, but Hunter just feels much more consistent. One other thing I want to talk about again is the consistency of Lord of Wolves is an issue, but it's also it points at a bigger issue of shotguns as a weapon archetype in general, how people have been fighting with shotgun RNG since the inception of Destiny. And here we are dealing with the gun that's insanely accurate and consistent in the shotgun archetype. I would love it if maybe instead of even nerfing Lord of Wolves, Bungie just buffs shotguns to be consistent and have no RNG spread. Honestly though, I think this is impossible because it has something to do with the way shotguns are coded into the game most likely, and they probably have to recode everything just to make them have a consistent spread every time per each shotgun. But really I think the issue is that people want consistent shotguns. What I'm pulling off with Lord of Wolves is consistent challenges, consistent fights that I know I'm gonna win. Yes, I can do it with my mind benders, but there's moments where I challenge with my mind benders and I'm not confident just because of bullet RNG or because just the way shotgun bullets happen, or maybe even the ADS. Something about shotguns, sometimes I feel afraid when I challenge. Maybe I'm just a noob, but with Lord of Wolves, I don't feel afraid. With Lord of Wolves, I know where that laser beam is going to go, and I know how to use it to get into kill range. And it's learnable. I can teach other people how to do it. I can watch other people who are better than me and understand what they did. It's really just a recreatable type of playstyle. Not every shotgun is like that, and I'd love if shotguns can be on that level of consistency of Lord of Wolves to make it a less compelling option in the game. And initially, honestly, I was salty over Lord of Wolves. Like, at high level PvP, running into it almost every game, I was really salty. I was like, can this not exist? But then as I picked it up, I realized, no, it's not free kills initially. Like, okay, maybe you get a kill and then you'll die, but it takes skill to like use this gun over other people. And it really does. You have to understand the consistency and the drag mechanic. But honestly, it only takes like an hour, maybe 2 hours of understanding, and then you're using it like an ace. It doesn't take that long. But the consistency makes me think that it's not just a gun that's free kills and a free win. You have to learn how to wield the consistency. When I miss with Lord of Wolves, it doesn't feel like the gun cheated me. It feels like I fucked up. It feels like I missed, and the gun's showing me that I missed. It's showing me where I'm laser beaming, not on the enemy. So I don't know if Bungie should nerf or change the gun, if it's even on Bungie's radar. But like I stated previously, it's only statistically relevant on PC PvP. Would they change a gun just for PC PvP? Or keep it like that? But yeah, these are just my thoughts and observations on Lord of Wolves from seeing it in high-level play over the last few weeks. Again, I'm not the best at this gun playstyle. I'm not even max ranked. These clips are from 4,000 to 5,000 glory ranked, and then some supremacy and quick play here and there. But I'm beginning to see why people love this gun at high-level PvP, and maybe why you should love it too. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Please rate, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content in this type of format.